Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading through Revelation. I'm up to chapter 12. Kai semeon mega ophthe ento urano, gune peribeblemene ton helion, kai heselene hupakato ton podonautes, kai epites kephales autes Stephanos asteron dodeca, kai engastri ekusa kai krasde ordinusa kai basanidzomenai tekain. Now the main verb here is ophthe, which is the aorist passive from horao, to see. It's an alpha contract verb. The future of horao is opsomai, and the root of opsomai is opt. And it's from that opt root, similarly with ophthalmos and so on, that root, before the theta eta for the aorist passive, the opt aspirates to a phi, so we get this form ophthe. So it's aorist passive from horao. So, and a great sign was seen ento urano, in the heaven, gune periblemeno, so we've had this before from peribello, in the middle, to be clothed in. So a woman clothed in ton helion, the sun, and the moon, understand, was hupakato, down below her feet. Hupakato is one of these pseudo prepositions. There's a lot of these in later Greek. They almost all take a genitive, and so it's just hupo connected with kato, and you get hupakato, down below. So the moon was down below her feet, and upon her head was understood Stephanos, a garland, and then we get a defining genitive here consisting of 12 stars. Kai en gastri ekusa. Now this is an idiom here. Gastri is the dative from the third declension noun gaster, which literally means a stomach. Now, ancient anatomy often confused various parts of the body, and the stomach and the womb were often conflated, and you get this idiom, and it's common in classical as well as later Greek. So echo en gastri means I am pregnant. Literally, I have something in my womb or in my stomach, literally. So this whole expression here, and we get lots of these connecting kais all the way through here. It's that there's more of them here. This is that Semitic influence here from Hebrew, where you have this so-called vaf consecutive, this use of joining things together, which is not particularly good Greek, but is good Hebrew. So you probably don't necessarily translate all the kais. So you might say here, she was pregnant, or she is, so she is pregnant. Kai krasde, historic present, she cries out. Odinusa, a participle, feminine participle from odino, which means to be in travail, that is, to be in the process of giving birth. So she cries out as she gives birth, and basanizomene is a passive from basanizdo, which we've seen before. It literally means to torment or to torture, but here it's probably in the sense of she's in anguish because she's giving birth. And then tekain is the aorist infinitive from tikto. We've seen that one before. So this is the aorist infinitive. It's a slightly odd use of the infinitive here. It's something like in the process of giving birth. So just to put that together, so she was pregnant and she cries out in her travail, and she is in anguish at the giving of birth. Kai ophthe allos semeon ento urano, kai idu drakon megas puros sekon kephalas hepta, kai kerata deca, kai epitas kephalas autu, hepta diademata. Kai he ora autu sure totriton ton asteron, to uranu kai ebelin autus esten gen. And another sign, Ophthe, there's that aorist passive again, as we had back up in verse 1. Another sign was seen in the heaven, and behold, a dracon, cognate with our word dragon, who was large and puros. Well, often just means ruddy or red, but perhaps here taken more literally meaning fiery. So behold, a great fiery dragon, having Kepelas hepta, 7 heads, and 10 kerata. These are horns. If you're looking this one up, it's third declension. Keras is the nominative. Keras and kerata, it's a neuter noun. So this is the neuter plural. So having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon its heads were hepta diademata, 7 diadems. Cognate with our word diadem, simply means crowns with jewels in them, I think. Kai heur autu sure totriton ton asteron tu uranu, kai ebalen autus eis tengain. And its tail, we've seen this word before, I think, the ura, the tail of it, so its tail, sure is a word meaning to drag away or to sweep. There are other words of sweeping in Greek. There's syro, sigma alpha iota rho omega, but this is sure, which has a slightly stronger sense of to drag. So its tail drags, the historic present, the third of the stars of the heaven, and it casts them, eis tangain, into the earth. Kai hadrakon hestaken enopion tes gunaikos tes melusas tekain hina hotan teke toteknon autes kataphagae. And the dragon stood, enopion, before the woman, the one being about to, so a feminine participle here from mellow. Here it's being followed by an aorist infinitive. It's normally followed by a future infinitive, but here an aorist. Teke, an aorist from tikto. So the dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, hina, in order that hotan, whenever, it takes a subjunctive, teke is the aorist subjunctive from tikto, and notice the repetition here, we get the infinitive, we get the subjunctive, and then we get a noun which is cognate with this verb tikto, or the root of a tek. So tekein hina hotan teke to teknon autes kataphagae. So in order that whenever she might give birth to her child, it, the dragon, kataphagae, might devour it. This is the aorist subjunctive from kat esthio. Aorist of esthio is ephagon. The kat esthio, generally used, not always, but generally used of animals devouring something. It has more the sense of to gobble up. It's a little bit, so you get esthio to eat and kat esthio to devour. It's a little bit like in the German you get essen for the, the verb for eat, and you get fressen is the verb used for animals eating. Greek has esthio and kat esthio. Kai eteken huion asen hos mele poimainen pantata ethne enorabdo sidara. And she gave birth to a son, there's the aorist again, now a male son. It's slightly repetitive here. Asen is the word for male. So she gave birth to a son, a male, who, mele, is about poimainen, to shepherd all the nations, and then that instrumental use of n with a rhabdos, with a stick, and sidera is an adjective here. So rhabdos is, although it's ending in os, is a second declension feminine noun, and hence we get a feminine adjective ending here, rhabdos. So who is about to shepherd all the nations, all the Gentiles, all the nations, with an iron rod, or an iron staff. Kai harpaste to teknon autes proston theon, kai proston thronon autu. And her son, harpaste, is an aorist passive from harpasdo, to snatch. So he was snatched up, or perhaps taken up, or snatched up to God and to his throne. Kai hegune efugen es teneremon. Hopiweke eke, nice sounds here, eche and eke. Topon hegune efugen es ton erenon. Hopu, sorry, I missed that there, sorry. Hopu eke topon he toimas menon. Apotu theou, hina eke trephos in auten hemeras kilias diakosias hex akonta. And the woman fled, aorist from fugo, with an epsilon in here. Ephugon is the aorist. So the woman fled into the desert, as tan eremon, another one of these second declension feminine nouns, where eke, she had there, eke, she had there a place prepared by God. This is the perfect passive participle from hetoimazdo. Hetoimazdo, aorist passive, for the perfect passive participle, prepared from God, in order that. Now, trephosin is third person plural subjunctive, present subjunctive from trepho, and it's not clear who the subject, who the they are, but it's in order that they might nourish or care for her, eke there, for, now this is a period of 1,260 days. Kai egeneto polymos ento urano, ho Mikael kai hoiangoloiautu tu polymes, kai meta tu drakontos. And there was polymos, a war in the heaven, and Michael and his angels. Now we get a 2 plus the infinitive here for purpose, for the purpose of making war with the dragon. So there was a war in heaven, or battle in heaven, a polymos, and Michael and his angels for the purpose of making war. So there's no main verb in this, with the dragon. And the dragon, epolemes en kai hoiangoloi autoi, and the dragon made, and his angels made war. This is from polemio, to make war. And the, as usual, this happens quite commonly in Greek, you've got a single subject here with a singular verb, and then you add something else on, but the verb is in the singular, is not plural, it's singular. So the dragon made war and his angels, kai uk iskusen uditopos huretheau turn eti ento urano. And he was not, well, he did not prevail, I think, for the eskusen here. Iskuo is to be strong. He was not strong enough, he did not prevail, is often the translation. Nor, get an aorist passive from heurisco. Heurethe is the aorist passive from heurisco. Nor was a place found, auton for them, eti, any longer, ento urano, in the heaven. So no place was found for them anymore in heaven. Kai eblethe hot drakon homegas, ho office ho archaios, ho keluminos diabolos kai ho satanas, ho planon ten oikomenon holone, eblethe esten gain kai hoi angeloi autumetu eblethe son. And the great dragon was cast, well, we'd expect X here from ekballo, but we just get ballo here. This is the aorist passive from ballo. We're getting lots of aorist passives in this chapter. So the great dragon was thrown, literally we would say thrown out. Better Greek would have had ex eblethe. Ho office, this is a third declension noun, meaning a serpent. So the ancient serpent, the one being called, passive participle here, diabolos, which is the Greek word meaning slanderer. Diaballo is the verb to slander, so the slanderer. And satanas, this is simply a Greek form of the Hebrew shatan, meaning Satan. So the slanderer, so diabolos and Satan, hoplanon, ten oikomenon holon. This is a participle from planao, and planao is to wander, but it can mean to cause to wander. So the one causing to wander the whole inhabited earth, the oikumene. This becomes a stock phrase for the inhabited earth by this stage. Eblethe, again we expect ex eblethe, so he was cast out into the earth, and his angels, and the angels with him, they were cast out. Eblethe son as a third person plural aorist passive. And just to quickly go through that bit again, so the great dragon was cast out, the ancient serpent, the one who was called Diabolos and Satanas, this is a nominative ending by the way, and the one leading astray the whole inhabited earth, he was cast onto the earth, and his angels with him were cast out. And that's the first part of chapter 12.